Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to AM News on Global Television. Coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja, I am Jumai Manson. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. Now the news in full. Access to clean and safe water for residents for satellite towns in the Federal Capital Territory is set to improve as the federal government, in collaboration with the FCT administration, has launched the Lot 2 Karo Township Water Supply Project. The initiative forms part of the Renewed Hope agenda, designed to provide lasting infrastructure that directly impacts the lives of residents. Kabir Hassan reports.
At the flag-off ceremony, the Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, says the project demonstrates President Bola Tinubu's administration commitment to delivering people-oriented infrastructure. He revealed that 50% of the project funding has already been approved, assuring residents that no project under his watch will be left incompleted.
This is one of the promises made by Mr. President when he commissioned in June, 2 months ago, of the Abuja Greater Water. He said he was going to also do this in the satellite towns. And we have started with Buhari Area Council and Amak Area Council.
Also speaking, the Minister of State for the FCT, Maria Mahmoud, commended the initiative, stressing that the project will bring relief to communities in Karo and its environs by ensuring safe and potable water supply.
This project is beyond water, but it is a symbol of progress, also a promise fulfilled and a future renewed. President Bola Tinubu, GCFR, for the Renewed Hope agenda, the leadership of His Excellency speaks louder than words. Today, the people of Karo and its environment feels the commitment, the impact of commitment of His Excellency in every home, on the street and also in the heart. We thank Mr. President for all that he has been doing and the support he has been given to our administration under Barrister Nyesom Wike.
Representing the contractors, CGC Nigeria Limited, Lynn Herman, pledges quality and timely delivery, promising that the project will be completed ahead of schedule.
I wish to express my appreciation to our minister for his strong leadership and his concern for the people welfare. We believe under his leadership and with the joint effort of all the stakeholders, this project will be completed with high quality, with high efficiency.
When completed, the Karo Water Project is expected to serve thousands of residents, enhance public health, and boost social-economic activities across satellite towns in the FCT. Kabir Hassan, Global TV News.
President Bola Tinubu has called on Japan to support Africa's push for reforms at the United Nations Security Council, making clear that the continent deserves stronger representation in global decision-making. Speaking in Yokohama at the 9th Tokyo International Conference on African Development, Tinubu insisted that Africa should be granted 2 permanent seats with veto powers, as well as additional non-permanent seats in line with the Ezelinunu Consensus. The president also highlighted the importance of technology in fostering global trust and stability, warning against its misuse to fuel division. The Minister of Interior, Dr. Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, has charged newly promoted senior officers of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, to uphold diligence, fairness and integrity as they take on greater responsibilities. Represented by the Secretary of the Civil Defense, Fire, Correctional and Immigration Services Board, Major General Abdul Malik Jibril, retired, the minister gave the charge while decorating 22 Assistant Commandants General of Corps at the Director Ed Abeluru Auditorium in Abuja. Over now to Kikelomo Okere for more details.
It was a day of pride, joy, and renewed responsibility as 22 senior officers of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps received their long-awaited promotion to the rank of Assistant Commandant General. The colorful decoration ceremony not only marked a career milestone for the officers, but also a moment of celebration for their families who witnessed the achievement. Representing the Minister of Interior, Dr. Olubunmi Tunji Ojo, the Secretary of the Civil Defense, Fire, Correctional and Immigration Service Board, Major General Abdulmalik Jubril, retired, reminded the newly promoted officers that promotion comes with accountability and urged them to bring innovation that will help address Nigeria's current security challenges.
With insecurity across the country, as already mentioned, we expect that they will bring to bear their various experiences to bear in tackling the challenges of national security.
On his part, Commandant General of NSCDC, Professor Abubakar Ahmed Audi, while congratulating the officers, urged them to show loyalty, professionalism and dedication while mentoring their subordinates. He also commended the minister's reform, which have cleared promotion stagnation in the service.
See what happens today. That is the product of hard work, commitment, and unwavering determination. So we thank the President for this. Then to our officers that are decorated today, you've heard it from my minister. He said to whom much is given, much is expected. And it is popularly said that the higher you go, the tougher it becomes. The more promotion you get, the more challenges you face. So at this level, they have entered a very, very senior cadre of the management of the Corps. And so they are expected, you've heard it from the minister, to be role models. They are expected to behave very well. And of course, they are expected to mentor.
The newly decorated officers pledged to justify their new ranks with renewed commitment to national security and service to the country. Highlight of the event was the oath of allegiance administered to the officers and the presentation of 5 million naira checks to the families of the personnel who lost their lives in the line of duty. Kike Lomo Okeri, Global Television News.
The Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission has commenced a review of remuneration packages for political, public and judicial office holders across the country. Chairman of the committee, Mohammed Bello, disclosed this at a retreat organized in Kano State as contained in a statement issued in Abuja by Mariam Yusuf, head of the Information and Public Relations Unit of the Fiscal Agency. Usman noted that the importance of the assignment is for the growth of Nigeria's governance structure. Over now to the federal government is set to train over 10 million youths across the country in digital and technical skills. These skills include programming, AI innovation, plumbing, tiling, and other vocational trades. Ubong Usoro completes the story.
The Federal Ministry of Education, through the Nigerian Youth Employment and Skill Acquisition Fund, has partnered with the World Bank to train service providers who will in turn train the youth nationwide. Speaking at the signing of MOU in Abuja, the Minister of Education, Professor Tahir Maman, represented by Dr. Nabila Mohammed, said the program is designed to tackle unemployment by equipping young Nigerians with skills that meet global demands.
You have all been shortlisted and visited, and you must have shown some form of commitment to be here today. So congratulations once again.
The World Bank representative, Dr. Mustara Rufai, said the initiative is a bold step towards preparing youth for future work by combining digital literacy with technical skills to create new generation of innovators and problem solvers.
The bank, in its bid to see youths acquire relevant skills, relevant market skills, is investing in the TVET sector. And it's not just to train them, but to see them get certification under the National Sales Qualification Framework and also to get employment.
The National Projects Coordinator of the Nigerian Youth Employment Through Skill Acquisition Fund, Blessing Ugu, said the service providers were selected after a rigorous process, stating that over 10 million Nigerian youth will be trained for 6 months all over the country.
The federal government of Nigeria in this present administration is focusing on training our youth, equipping them with specific skills that with the skills that the students can go out and have jobs.
The program will begin with the signing of the MOU with service providers before the full-scale training commences across the 6 geopolitical zones of the country. Stakeholders express optimism that the scheme will bridge the skill gap, enhance job creation, and contribute significantly to economic growth. Ubong Usoro for Global Television.
Commissioner of Police for the Federal Capital Territory, Ajao Adewale, has disclosed that illegal mining has evolved into a powerful cartel-controlled business funded by influential Nigerians. This illicit trade is driving banditry and costing the nation an estimated $9 billion, 13.7 trillion naira every year. Now, the FCT Commissioner of the Police made this known at a media brief organized by the Nigerian Union of Journalists in Abuja. Kike Lomo Okere tells us more.
Speaking at the media briefing organized by the Nigerian Union of Journalists FCT Council, the fight against illegal mining, role of the media in Abuja, the FCT Commissioner of Police, Ajao Adewale, described illegal mining as one of the Nigeria's most serious national security threats. He identified Zamfara, Nasarawa, Kogi, Kaduna, Niger, Kwara, Osun, and part of the FCT as major hotspots. Notably, over 72 suspects connected to illegal mining were arrested in Abuja alone between 2023 and 2024. Adewale emphasized that without strong cooperation between security agencies and the media, this criminal cartel will continue to prosper.
Illegal mining, and I'm taking what has happened between 2023 and 2025. Within these 3 years, Nigeria has lost a total of 41.1 trillion naira to illegal mining in physical cash. This is outside the human life that has been wasted.
In a remark, Grace Ike, the chairman of the NUJ FCT Council, called on journalists to move beyond basic reporting. She urged them to engage in investigative journalism that uncovers the financier behind illegal mining, gives voice to affected communities, and exerts pressure on policymakers.
We must leverage these platforms responsibly and disseminate vital information, debunk misinformation, and encourage a national conversation on sustainable mining practices, and that's exactly why we are gathered here today.
By providing balanced and accurate coverage, the media can shed light on the hidden danger, highlight the human and environmental toll, and compel authorities to take decisive action. Kike Lomo Okere, Global Television News.
The International Organization for Migration, IOM, has donated 1.7 billion naira to support humanitarian relief efforts in Yelwata and Naka communities of Guma and Kwero West local government area of Benue State. Benue State correspondent Felicity Indere reports. We apologize that news will be brought in our subsequent bulletin. Now, you are watching the live broadcast of AM News. When AM News returns, United Nations Guterres reiterates call for immediate ceasefire over Gaza. Details coming shortly, plus business and sports stories on the other side of this break. Please stay with us. You're welcome back, and if you're just tuning in, this is AM News on Global Television. Thank you for staying with us. In business now, the House of Representatives Public Account Committee has summoned 11 electricity distribution companies to explain their combined debt of 2.6 trillion naira to the Federation. As stated in 2021 Auditor General's report, the Managing Director of the Nigerian Bulk Electricity Trading PLC, Johnson Akinawo, confirmed that as of September 2020, Abuja Distribution Company owes 330.4 billion naira, Ikeja 310 billion naira, Ibadan 325.7 billion naira, while others including Kaduna, Port Harcourt, Enugu, Eko and Yola also bear huge liabilities. Lawmakers have now ordered the DISCOs to present repayment plans amid concerns over under-remittance on collected market debt and reports of 100 billion paid to the generation firm for undelivered electricity. Minister of Marine and Blue Economy Adegboyega Oyetola says the Lekki Deep Sea Port is projected to generate $200 billion in revenue for government over 45 years concession. He explained that the world-class facility has already begun easing congestion in Lagos and boosting Nigeria's competitiveness as a regional logistics hub. With cargo now moving faster due to completed federal and state road links, Oyetola also noted that the port stands on 5 pillars that include strategic location, strong public-private partnership, integrated transport network, supported policies and technology-driven operations, marking it a model for trade and shipping growth in Nigeria. The Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, PEGASON, has called for urgent reforms in the country's refineries and cautioned against political interference in the oil and gas sector. President of the association, Festus Osifo, made this known in Abuja at the ongoing 4th PEGASON and Labour Summit 2025. He said that Nigeria refineries should operate under a model similar to Nigerian liquefied natural gas, where the government holds minority stakes while competent private operators take majority control for efficiency. Osifo noted that while Nigeria's workforce possesses the expertise to manage refineries, the absence of proper tool and the persistence of political interference have led to inefficiency, waste, and recurring breakdowns. On the foreign news now, Uganda says it has agreed to a deal with the United States to take in deported migrants on condition that they don't have criminal records. In a statement, Uganda's Ministry of Foreign Affairs said the two parties are still working out the details, but confirmed that the deal had been concluded. Kampala said it will also refuse unaccompanied minors and had expressed a preference for people with African nationalities. Kenya, the finance minister says Nairobi specifically wants to reprofile the $5 billion loan that Beijing underwrote for the construction of the East African country's modern railway. The finance minister says if approved, the move will reduce pressure on Kenya's forex reserves as the country spends nearly $1 billion on a year in debt service to China. Since 2022, Kenya's debt servicing costs have skyrocketed owing to high interest rates and a strong dollar. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres has renewed his call for an immediate ceasefire as Israel approves a military plan for Gaza City. Speaking to reporters in Japan on the sidelines of the Tokyo International Conference on African Development, Guterres called for the unconditional release of hostages held by Hamas. Zara Nasril tells us more.
The Israeli settlement plan, which will bisect the occupied West Bank and cut it off from East Jerusalem, was announced last week and received the final go-ahead from a Defense Ministry Planning Commission on Wednesday. Guterres also urged Israel to reverse a decision to expand what he described as illegal settlement construction in the West Bank.
And talking about peace, I must reiterate that it is vital to reach immediately a ceasefire in Gaza and the unconditional release of all hostages, and to avoid the massive deaths and destruction that a military operation against Gaza City would inevitably cause.
Hamas recently said it accepted a proposal for a 60-day ceasefire and a hostages for prisoners exchange, but Israel is weighing the offer. Zahra Nasr reporting for Global TV News.
Over now to sports desk, now Nigerian Premier Football League (NPFL) said Ikorodu City have completed the signing of Liberian goalkeeper Derek Julu. Julu joined the Oga Boys in a 2-year deal from Watanga FC. Ikorodu City stated after his unveiling their excitement to sign Liberian national team goalie Derek Julu from 2nd Liberian First Division champions Watanga FC on a 2-year deal. Nigerian Premier Football League (NPFL) champions Remo Stars have announced the signing of Liberian winger Mark Gibson Theo. The skillful winger penned a 2-year contract with Daniel Ogumadede's side. Gibson previously played for another NPFL club, Rivers United. AC Milan and Bayer Leverkusen has reached a verbal agreement over the transfer of Nigerian striker Victor Boniface with the Serie A giants, now preparing the formal documents. Fabrizio Romano confirmed that the deal will be structured as a loan with a €30 million buy option clause, which is not mandatory. Milan are also in direct talks with Boniface representatives over personal terms, a key final step before the move is sealed. Now that's it on Global TV AM News. Before we go, here's a recap of our top stories again. We brought to you that access to clean and safe water for residents of satellite towns in the Federal Capital Territory is set to improve as the federal government, in collaboration with the FCT administration, has launched the Lot 2 Karu Township Water Supply Project. In business, the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, PEGASN, has called for the urgent reforms in the country's refineries and cautioned against political interference in the oil and gas sector. On the foreign news, we brought to you that Uganda says it has agreed a deal with the United States to take in deported migrants on condition that they don't have criminal records. And finally, in sports, AC Milan and Bayer has reached a verbal agreement over transfer of Nigerian striker Victor Boniface with the Serie A giants, now preparing the formal documentations. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. Now kindly follow us across all social media platforms now showing on your screen by using @GlobalTVNG. I am Jumai Manson. Thank you for watching. Up next is Global Morning. Stay tuned.
Is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and international.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Hello everyone, thank you for joining us here again today on Global Morning. I am Muyi Agmofwegbe saying we are grateful for your time with us always on the program. My amazing colleague Ramsey Enoch Agbo is back again on the show.
Good morning, good morning viewers out there. It's a beautiful day, and as usual, my name is Ramsey Enoch Agbo, and the weekend they say starts on Friday.
A good one, let's be clear.
A good one. Like someone said, they said two heads are better than one.
Right.
But it's two good heads actually, because two dummies, if you put 10 dummies together, it will still be the same thing.
I mean, I will choose one good, great head over 10 of the other one you described.
Yes. Of course, the good weekend starts from Friday, and that's exactly what's about happening. Want to help you set the pace, get your weekend started from today. We'll make it good for you. So stay on the show. Welcome once again to Global Morning.
Right. I mean, what more can we say? The week, as we know it, I mean, the business week is winding down real fast now. And one of the things we'll be doing on the program today is to do more like a panoramic view of all of the big stories from the whole week and look at what exactly should be the highlights of our conversation. Quite a number of things, public interest issues, issues around national security, and then you also have those that make Nigeria worry a little, especially when you talk about things that have to do with the economy, quality of life, things like that. Well, we'll delve into all of that in a bit in the course of the show with you today. We'll take a quick break now. When we return, we'll begin to unfold the program for you. Please do stay with us. One of the stories we're looking at today on the program is one that is very, I mean, not just sad, but sends jitters down the spine of every right-thinking person. The mosque attack in Katsina State, northwest Nigeria. When that story broke just a few days ago, the first thing that hit most of us was, well, again in the mosque, right? I mean, this was not just chaotic, it was bloody. Again, and we thought, well, who knows, maybe a few casualties, but as of this morning, we're learning that just by end of yesterday, at least 50 bodies had been recovered. All right, it makes you wonder, what exactly are we not doing right? What are we leaving behind? What are the gaps we ought to be closing that we're not closing, and things like that? Or maybe, who knows, is it possible our priorities are misaligned? Because I mean, I'm imagining somebody in a place of worship on whatever day. I mean, people in a place of worship are as vulnerable as you can imagine. It's not a battleground. And then somebody with guns, machetes and stuff shows up. Sometimes they come in their numbers, and then they are killing people at random. And you're hearing now that at least 50 bodies have been recovered. I mean, that's what the news is reporting already. Of course, Ramsey, you and I know that this is not the first time we will be hearing about attacks in a mosque. We've heard about attacks in churches, which means that we need to now see all of this beyond religion. We need to now see what are the national security threats we're dealing with. Yes, we can always appreciate our men and women in uniform, appreciate efforts being made by the leadership of the defense architecture in this country. For example, just recently we understood that some figures from ISIS, Islamic States of Iraq and Syria were also arrested in Nigeria. The NSA himself came out to talk about these. Other leaders within the security space also spoke about this issue. But it will appear we are not just only scratching the surface. We are yet to even get deep down enough, all right, to the root causes of this challenge.
Well, I think it's becoming worrisome. When this thing first started, it looks like it was a joke.
Right.
But look at where we are today. Before now, we used to hear of killings in churches, burning down of churches. Now it's extending to the mosque. And that's to tell you that this thing is not really religion, like some persons think about it. You know, when you hear that a church is being burnt down, the mindset of the people might go to the people of the other religion and all of that. But now it's happening in mosque. So who is responsible for this? And this is not the first time, like you said. Remember the killing in Owo, the Catholic Church. You know, was it just this week? We heard that some persons are facing the wrath of the law for that reason. This is like years after. Meaning there have been some underground investigation. Some persons have been on top of their games. But then, must we wait for these things to happen before we start taking it seriously?
Right.
That's one of the things that we need to talk about. Look at the number of people that lost their lives. And still counting. We're not sure. This is what is in the media space.
Right.
We cannot really ascertain. You can't ascertain right now the number of lives that were lost, people injured, and all of that. Why, if you must carry out this dastardly act, must it be in a worship center? These are some of the questions I sit down to ask most of the times. If you must do this, and I think, one of the papers today, the CDS is saying 2027 is one of the reasons why there is surge in killing right now in Nigeria. And he connected it to the fact that foreigners, it has a foreign connection too. Then, that's one of the things I keep thinking. For instance, you see someone who just, with his own free mind, let me go and pray to God, then you don't return. The person don't return.
Meanwhile, your loved ones are waiting for you.
Your loved ones are waiting for you. Probably somebody have told you, as you're going, pray for me. You know, so additional to the economic situation, to what Nigerians are facing, then you still have these situations happening every day. If it is not kidnap, it is killings. If it is not killing, it is attack. And these people, the way they do this thing, they take people unawares. Then it means we still need to strengthen our security architecture. Because we're talking about a worship center here. It's not in the bush. It should be somewhere
within the public space.
Yes. So how did these people gain access? You know, it was when bomb blast started. If you're going to church, you see a lot of checkpoints, police checkpoints on the road to the churches, because there were bomb blasts in churches at different places. When coronavirus came, you see water everywhere. Nigerians wait for things to happen before they start putting up preventive measures, which is not helping us. So I feel, well, we know the security situation in the country, and we know we have people who are in charge of these things. Why not put up a very, very good, formidable forces that should withstand? We have our intelligence. It's on record.
Effective.
One of our intelligence is one of the most effective and superior as far as Nigeria and Africa is concerned. You remember ECOMOG, you know,
accolades after accolades, awards after awards.
Because of the antecedent, things that Nigerian army, our security architectures have done in the past.
Just to add to that, Ramsey, real quick, I mean, making a brilliant point here. those were even days where you had not had this evolution in technology.
Yes.
There was virtually no internet across the continent, yet we're pushing the frontiers on that level. Just go ahead with your thoughts.
Yes, so now every good thinking Nigeria will feel, well, now there is technology.
Right.
You can communicate, you can use drone, you can use a lot of things. Okay, this is an area, unmanned area view aircraft.
Talking about drones and all of
drones
this.
now, that can fish out. We can do all of these things. So why are we not doing it?
Well, I mean, that's the second rhetorical question you were asking this morning. The first you asked was who exactly is responsible for all of these dastardly attacks that we've seen across this country. Now, that question, if you ask me, is not only instructive, all right. I mean, it's also thought-provoking because you're asking yourself, as they say, I mean, our people say there's no smoke without fire, which simply means that there must be somebody who is pushing this agenda, whatever the agenda may be. By the way, there must be somebody who is putting in their what I call TME, time, money, and energy. All right, let's go back to a war. You mentioned that in passing a while ago. That happened when we had the former governor, now deceased, Oluwarotimi Akeredolu, blessed memory. It happened incidentally in his hometown of Owo. All right, we're told that they came from far away from Ondo State. All right, and they came into a church, and as we say here, the rest is history. That event in itself will be history, but the impact it left in its trail will never be forgotten by the people of Owo, Ondo State, and indeed Nigeria. All right, today we understand, like you also alluded to just this week, that well, the suspects are now in courts. We understand they have affiliation with Al-Shabaab. Now, for the benefit of our viewers, right, Al-Shabaab is a very strong, deadly sect. I mean, terrorist sects. All right, it's up in East Africa. All right, you hear how they come to Kenya every once in a while. All right, they lay siege, they do all of the damage they want to do. Sometimes they attack hotels where you have a handful of tourists from other countries. All right, they do all of that. Of course, if you go to other places like Ethiopia, you go to Sudan, for example, you see what Al-Shabaab is doing all across that region of the continent. They are not only giving the region, the continent, a bad name. They are taking lives. They are maiming people. All right. They are hampering the economy of the continent, especially the East African end of it. And now they are extending their own operations into West Africa. So it means that we have more to worry about than we are already paying attention to. That's on the one hand. On the other hand, let's also talk about punishment for those who have now been caught, those who have now been found with overwhelming evidence, as lawyers say, regarding being involved in terrorism on whatever level, to whatever extent. The other time we had late former President Muhammadu Buhari in office, we also had Abubakar Malami SAN as the AGF, the Attorney General, and of course Dublin as the Minister of Justice. Under him, we heard there were some 400 terror suspects who were going to be tried. Again, the conversation was, should they be tried in an open court? Should they be tried in secret? In fact, we heard all of these 400 people were the ones they were found to be sponsoring terrorism in Nigeria. Nobody has heard anything about that case. Of course, the late former president has been out of office for the third year counting. All right. So what that tells you is, yes, let's be clear. These are security issues. These are issues that border squarely on national security. So we are not going to be naive enough to expect that the government will come to national television every day to give us blow-by-blow detail of what's happening, because these are extremely sensitive issues, most of them even classified. However, we must, as a nation, as a government, all right, security system, be able to build confidence in citizens to know that we can go to bed with two eyes closed, knowing that our country, the government, the leadership will do the needful.
Yes, I think that's what it is, because Nigerians, as it is right now, it's like, I don't know, but there are certain things you can't do. You can't do. A lot of people have pushed, in fact, religious leaders, politicians, everybody, some of them have pushed for self-defense.
Right.
But if you want to make self-defense lawful in Nigeria, you know what I'm talking about. It will result to something else.
Right. Even though we have even saying people from the political class clamoring and recommending self-defense.
Yes.
Again, is that not the devil's alternative?
Okay, let me give an instance now. There is this saying, some people in the society believe that the kidnapping that erupted after elections, you see the level of kidnap increase on the increase. Some persons in the society have said this is happening as a result of arms given to thugs, okay, for political reasons. After the election, what else? You expect them to take these arms to their box and lock it until the next election? No. They devise means for themselves.
Right.
And that is part of the reason some people in the society are saying we are where we are today. How much more when they say, okay, let there be self-defense. Like there is someone sent the cybercrime act to me earlier this morning, a lawyer, and I was looking at it and I was laughing.
Did you see the 6th clause, item 6 in it? And all that talks about recording conversations without authorization.
Without authorizing.
Right.
So many things. So by the time everyone is allowed to defend themselves, you don't defend yourself with a bare hand. Not just with empty hands.
You have to match the attacker's energy.
The attacker's energy.
Right.
And by the time you look at what the attackers are using, it's either yours must in a way outweigh what they are carrying.
Right.
And you know what that means. So we are going to have a lot of chaos. But now the question is, the level this thing is going, the level this thing is going, gradually these people are encroaching into West Africa. Into West Africa.
That's right.
We can't withstand what is happening at the East Africa. We can't withstand it. If I tell you the truth, they say Nigeria is the giant of Africa. This is the same Nigeria that is somehow being held to ransom right now.
Right.
So what are we saying? What's the hope of Africa? For how long would we fold our arms? If we can't do it, it's not a crime. The way we go war investors, we can also speak to the international community.
That's right.
If we need help, it's not a crime. We rely on ourselves to succeed, to walk through this thick and thin sometimes as nations. So I think something needs to be done ASAP, or else this killing continues. If it continues, a time will come that the nation somehow, if these people encroach too much into the country, they might make the nation ungovernable for our leaders, which is not the right thing, which is not the best, because at the end of the day, the repercussion, the effect falls back to the average Nigerians who are armless, who don't have security operatives as ADC and all of that, so this thing is becoming worrisome and it's worth looking into right now. The same way the Cyber Security Act was being looked into, so many other things should also be looked into by the National Assembly, the House of Representatives, so that at least Nigerians for once can go to bed with their two eyes closed, ply our roads without the fear of unknown all the time.
Wow, that part where Ramsey says so Nigerians can apply roads, well, that strikes a chord really, because a time there was in this country where you could travel, end to end, and in fact you would even enjoy traveling by road than you do by air, because you're able to take in the whole experience, you're able to see new places, interact with new people and things like that. But hopefully we get back to those good old days real soon. We'll take a break at this point, everyone. When we return, we'll bring you the rest of the program. Do stay with us. right, let's quickly take a look at the papers for you. Now we go to the Punch newspaper first. Well, as always, we have big stories here. Top left corner first says PDP crisis. That's your kicker. Wike camp rejects zoning talks with Makinde Diri. Again, the division in that party continues, with a rider saying PDP governors convene in Zamfara to resolve convention deadlock party crisis. UK leads Nigeria's Q1 capital inflow with 5.5 trillion naira. Page 26 is where you have those details. And then adjacent the nameplate, UK recognizes Alaafin as Yoruba supreme ruler. Owade tells Oni. Okay, so we have brought the UK into this royal tussle now. Then the Star headline says CDS 2027 polls behind surge in killings. Two riders there. Steady flow of foreign cash empowering terrorists. That's according to Chief of Defense Staff Christopher Musa. He says steady flow of foreign cash empowering terrorists. So what efforts are being made to plug those channels? Again, that circles back to what Ramsey and I were saying a while back. The second one tells us Nigeria facing growing security risks from Sahel conflicts. Defense chief, again, is the one to whom that is credited. EFCC NIS expel another 51 foreigners for jailed for cyber fraud offenses. EFCC NIS expel another 51 foreigners jailed for cyber fraud offenses. Okay, page 45. That's where those details await you. At the very bottom of it, bottom right, Oyo to pay 1 billion naira compensation on circular road project. 3 US-based Nigerians jailed 8 years for $520,000 fraud. External reserves climbed to 44-month high of $41 billion. Details on page 21. This morning I was having a conversation with a few persons coming to work, and one was very curious as to what exactly is the meaning of foreign reserves and how does it impact the lives of the everyday citizen. Well, just read up details. Hopefully we can have those conversations at a later time. Those are your headlines from the Punch newspaper today. Ramsey will walk us through the headlines now from the New Telegraph.
All right, thank you very much. Let's quickly get to the New Telegraph and see what headlines we have there. Above the nameplate, this one says a foreign portfolio inflow sink of 30.7% in July as overflow surge. Just one rider to that story, and it says domestic investors increase dominance. A fuel price increase by 33% YOY in July 2025. This is coming from NBS. Then this one having the picture of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. It says, Tinubu to Nigeria in diaspora, contribute expertise, resources to consolidate national development. One writer to that story, and the writer says, economy stabilized, medical tourism reversed. Details on page 2. This one says Abia North, that's the kicker. Kalu has outperformed his predecessors. APC chief Musu is the one saying that, and you have the picture of Kalu right there. Then this one says CDS, every Nigerian should learn combat skills for self-defense. We just talked about it a few minutes ago. CDS is given the same advice. See,
it is what it is now.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
Right.
See, well, I think we'll get to a time. A time will come that you don't even need to tell people.
Right.
People in political offices have said it. Religious leaders have said it times without number. The CDS is saying it now. So I don't know. But then I think it should be specified when you say self-defense,
exactly,
you know,
create a context and then also provide guidelines.
Because this is Nigeria. You do certain things,
people can go overboard.
All right. Then they say, okay, the law is catching up with this person because of self-defense and all of that. We heard of someone who had, I think, an altercation with someone in the north that said, according to what they said, was sentenced to death. Okay, because during the process of self-defense, someone came to the farm also to take his life, as they normally do, and something happened, and reverse became the case, and this person was sentenced. And people have been talking about it. This is self-defense here, and at the process of self-defense, anything can happen. Okay, so well, this is coming from the CDS. Then one rider to that story: attack on Katsina Mosque, killing condemnable. This is coming from Abbas. That takes us to the big story on the New Telegraph, which says 2009 parts. That's to Kika. ASU threatens a fresh strike. It says federal government destroyed trust. Just two riders to that story. The first rider says reject government's loan scheme, criticize approval of new private varsities. NEL fund restricts upkeep loans to academic sessions. All right, that's how it should be. You're not in school. What upkeep are you talking about? Mba unveils reconstructed Enugu Hotel presidential, extol Dr. Okpara's vision. 2027, that's the kicker. Southern PDP has taken stand on zoning, according to Makinde. Well, maybe more stories will unfold as far as the occultation, or should I say a fresh division or disagreement that is ensuing in PDP right now. Says consultation with aggrieved members ongoing. Won't go to gutter with Wike. CP-PDP says stakeholders zoning meeting valid and authentic. This one says RMAFC ignores criticism, begins pay rise process for Tinubu governors and others. I think it's part of what we'll be looking at today during the conversation. Very important. A lot of Nigerians are interested in this very topic. So we'll bring a perspective to it on our program today when the discussion gets started. Prioritizing politicians' greed over public welfare, reckless, scandalous, coming from CUPP. Then the second rider to that story says presidency turns Atiku Obi El-Rufai as Nigeria's external reserve hits $41 billion. And finally, from the New Telegraph, this one says Procoli can protect against colon cancer. That's a study that's been done. That's the size of the headlines from the New Telegraph.
All right, time to look at the Nigerian Tribune for you. Now, top left corner first. Nigeria's FX reserves hit $41 billion, highest since 2021. That's a 4-year high. Every Nigerian should learn combat skills for self-defense, Chief of Defense Staff says. All right, Ramsey and I will start after the program. Hopefully we'll get a coach to walk us through. All right. PDP crisis. Makinde talks tough. What are the writers saying to us? When people go low or go into the gutters, I don't go with them, he says. Expresses readiness to reach out to the aggrieved. As Southern leaders kick the Seoul Lagos zoning meeting, party not dead will offer better option in 2027, say Governor Diri. Others. NEC meets on Monday to adopt zoning committee report. On the left corner of the front page, why I won't be in supremacy battle with any Oba Alaafin. Woman mistaken for kidnapper in Kwara killed in jungle justice. Again, that's pathetic. Oyo government approves 1 billion naira compensation for circular road project, disburses 600 million naira. A bit of health here too. Vegetarian diets can slash cancer risk by up to 45%, study finds. We will get our local governments back. Adeleke rallies PDP members for 2026 election. ASU threatens fresh strike, rejects federal government loan scheme. Mobilizes members for rallies across universities next week. Did I just hear you say, there we go again? Okay, well, let's see what the government would do by way of intervening so that this planned action, industrial action that is, can be forestalled. Those are the headlines, by the way, from the Nigerian Tribune today. Be sure to get copy for yourself so you can read up details as we flip things over now to the Nigerian News Direct for you.
All right, thank you very much. Let's get to the Nigerian News Direct and see the stories that we have. On the Nigerian News Direct this morning, we have this one which says a family health conference. Experts call for stronger succession planning, legacy preservation in Africa. And the big story says, don't stay away from your country. That's the kicker, and that's the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria appealing to Nigerians in diaspora. Of course, one writer to that story which says, negative portrayal of Nigeria, discourage investment and partnership. I won't engage in supremacy battle with any monarch. Alofin is the one saying that. Petan honors SNEPCO MD with award. FS Reserve hits $41 billion, highest in 4 years. And that's the size of the headlines from the Nigerian News Direct.
Okay, not much of headlines from there apparently, but then we have a bit more for you this morning from the papers. Away from the Nigerian News Direct, we turn to the Daily Trust newspaper. From immediately just beneath the nameplate, top right corner, government deports 102 Chinese nationals, others over cybercrime. Despite meeting OPEC quota, price drop threatens Nigeria's capital projects. 2027 microzoning battle splits southern PDP leaders. Then the big one says, with the riot here, kicker should say, Katsina Mosque attack. Search continues as over 50 bodies recovered. Again, that's is a story that sends a lot of jitters. The writer says, renewed hostilities disturbing. Chief of Defense Staff, they're talking. Okay, amidst criticisms, RMAFC begins public officers pay review. Nigeria's forex reserves rise to $41 billion. Federal Capital Territory community residents vacate homes over erosion. Man allegedly flogs son to death. What could have led to that? Sounds like something went wrong apparently. I mean, no right-thinking person flogs their own child to death. But then, what can we say? Read up those details on the Daily Trust newspaper today. Our last paper will be the Nation newspaper, and Ramsey has those headlines for us.
All right, let's quickly flip through the Nation's newspaper, where some major headlines here states that the government steps up anti-cultism crackdown. Student loan disbursement hit 86.3 billion, says NELFund. First Lady to empower 1,000 women today in Lagos. And now to the big story, which says PDP convention threatened by leaders' battle over zoning. That's a big one. One writer to that story. The Southeast Party chiefs reject Diri Makinde stakeholders' Lagos meeting decision. The part of a steady rise, Tinubu tells diaspora in Nigerians in diaspora. And of course, one more, and I will be done. This one says, Mba restore Okpara's vision with rehabilitation of Hope Hotel Presidential. And of course, that's the size of the headlines from the Nation's newspaper.
All right, we hope you'll do the needful by sharing that. You read up all of these details for yourself. That way you'll have a better handle on the news and where it's heading today and the days after that. This is where we call it a wrap on newspaper review on Global Morning. Remember, as always, that Global Television makes no contribution, editorial or otherwise, to these papers, headlines and details. All we do for you is bring you the headlines as published by their respective publishers. We'll take a break. When we return, the rest of the program will be on the way. Please do stay with us.
Good morning and welcome to Social Buzz on Global Morning. Good morning to Global Morning crew. It's a good day to look at what's buzzing on the internet. I will tell you that a lot is happening on the internet in just less than 24 hours. The UNIZIK security arrests 3 students for flouting recent ban on signing off activities. Earlier this week, the management of Nnamdi Azikiwe University banned final year students from engaging in signing out activities. However, some students assumed the ban would take effect from next year. So after they wrote their final exams, yesterday, the 21st of August, some of them had friends sign on their shirts. A video shows security operatives storming a hall to arrest 2 young women and 1 young man for engaging in signing off activities despite the ban. I would like us to take a look at this short clip. I know this has been a practice for a very long time in different schools for final year students, but when there is a regulation, I assume that it should be followed. If there is any law, it should be followed. But again, I still have something to say, but let's move over to comments, from social media. And the first comment is coming from Prince Tosino. And Prince says, let's even agree they were disobeying the law, but how can you justify dragging and arresting them? Did they kill someone using a pump action? Pump action, he exclaimed. That's too big. It's more like a criminal offense there. The second comment is coming from Olatun Scott. And Olatun Scott says, pump action all in the name of arresting sign-out folks who are harmless. What if there was a discharge mistakenly? And honestly, we've seen things like this, and you hear it was a mistake, but then a life has been lost. I think that's too much too. And the third comment is coming from Chief Yemi, and Chief Yemi says, when Kemi Badnoch talks about her regrets being a Nigerian, you will scold her for expressing her regrets. But then that's just Kemi Badnoch talking about her experience, and I know so many other Nigerians have had such experience over the years in Nigeria. I have with me Ramsey Enoch Agbo, who is here to shed more light on the story. Good morning, Ramsey.
Yes, good morning, Mobuno. It's good to hear all of this. It's good to join you on Social Buzz this morning.
Thank you so much. So Ramsey, I went through the comment, I also read your story, and you saw the video. What do you think?
Well, let me start by saying, if you don't know my story, you wouldn't know how to approach my glory.
Okay.
Because, as a matter of fact, celebration, sometimes it is not even pre-planned. People celebrate based on how they feel. And at that point in time, you do some things, and when you start watching the video yourself, say, hey, I did all of this. For those of you who are married, some of the things you did on your wedding day, it's when you start watching the clip, oh, so I did this. But then what would you say when there is a regulation? When the school, I could remember there was one time during our days when we were going to school, they said, well, court activities and all of that. But innocent people, everybody, injury that you had, or that there's mark on your body, or you didn't even know when
they assume you're a cultist.
Some people were denied admission just because of a regulation. Okay. So when there's a regulation in place, then it's another thing altogether. Ignorance is not an excuse of the law. But then, the approach for me, you can hear what everyone is saying. No. See, we've not finished talking about Ibon El. I think maybe removing people's shirt is the reigning
thing now a thing.
I don't know, maybe
for security operatives.
for security operatives. But then I think the comments said it all. You don't need to drag people if they have contravened. These people will come to collect their result. There are other ways that you can reprimand them or stop them from doing what the school said they shouldn't do, instead of just dragging and using pump action. My brother, that stray bullet thing, we don't want to hear it again. Please, accidental discharge, we don't want to hear it again. So it's better we prevent these things from happening. I know a lady among these people that graduated, somebody's mother did something very at the extreme. She came with plenty wrapper and was spraying it on the floor for the daughter to walk on. Spray at a long distance, and people were covering it. So this celebration, sometimes if you don't know the story, you won't understand the glory. So that's what it means for me.
But I understand that using harsh method to drag the students out to arrest them, maybe sharing their shirt, because you could see in the video one of the students, her shirt was already down, but I don't know if you actually heard the sound where she was saying, "No, I'm just holding the markers, I've not even signed on them yet." And they said, "What are you doing with a marker?" But then she hasn't even signed on it. And my question right now is, how do you expect students who have gone through school, some of them stayed 4 years and some even extra years, and how do you want them to celebrate? How else do you want them to be happy? I want to assume that these students are already done with their papers, like that's the last paper for the year and for, in the university. So don't you think they can go ahead and do whatever it is they want to do? Signing out is harmless, don't you think so?
Well, university is not a secondary school, so there is some level of freedom. So I know one of the things that people so frown at in school is cultism, exam malpractice. But celebration, my life is my life, the way I want to live my life. If it is not contravening with the school, the law, the regulations of the school, allow me to do that. But then I don't think it's okay for security operatives to take laws into their hand. I don't know if it was a transfer of aggression.
I think there was like a lecturer standing by there and was telling, take them out. He was actually making comments like, push them out, take them out. And I feel that's too much for
maybe they acted on instruction
for students who has patronized the school for that long. If they've not had any record of malpractice or any of sorts, then why drag them like animals? Honestly, I wouldn't like to hear. It wasn't really a good side for me. Are you blaming
the security operatives, or you are blaming the lecturer who was given instruction, or the students?
Okay, if I should go by what I heard from the studio, from the student, when she said, "I'm just holding the mark, I've not yet written on it," then why not? You work her out well, not dragging her. She has not yet written on it. I'm sure she wants to do that, but maybe outside the school. But then respect her. If she respected that law, then you respect her.
And these are ladies we're talking about.
These are ladies we're talking about. It's becoming too much for the ladies. Anyways, thank you so much, Ramsey, for your contribution to today's topic on Social Boards. I really had a swell time. I'm sure you out there watching has something to say. Please use the social media handles you're seeing right here on your screen and be part of this conversation. Till I come your way again next time, I am Ogochukwu Mobne, and Global Morning continues.
No.
All right, let's get our discussion this morning on the road. Just this week, the Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission, RMAFC, has now told Nigerians that, look, it has already begun the process of reviewing the salaries, or overall the remuneration of public officers, those appointed, those elected, including judges. For example, it says, well, an attempt had been made in this regard previously, but then at this point in time, it's going further to ensuring that, look, that it just does the necessary thing at this point in time. It also says that it is part of its core mandate to get this done, which it describes as a move that is in the overall interest of the country. This morning, we're joined by a lawyer and a public affairs commentator to help us look at the situation we're dealing with in this regard and how timely or otherwise this kind of initiative or move, as the commission has called it. So we're joined by Barrister Oladoto Hassan, is the global president of Yoruba Council worldwide. Oladoto, thank you so very much for joining us on Global Morning today.
Yes, good morning. It's a pleasure to be on your program.
All right, thank you. So let's begin with the whole issue around cost of governance in Nigeria. It will appear that as of today, we're not making much of progress, if any at all, regarding how we should cut, in a manner that is deliberate, the cost of governance in Nigeria.
Yes. Yeah, well, the cost of governance. Hello?
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead, please.
Yes, in view of what is happening now, there have not been a particular measure of system to ensure that the cost of governance can be properly well organized in terms of rules of engagement. Cost of governance have been determined in a checkered manner. It has no age, just like we have the civil service cost of managing the system. There's no proper procurement rules of engagement. In terms of salary and emolument, there have not been a proper coordination in terms of there has been this fiat method of what best suits my administration. So this has been the major issue that led us to us now dealing with the issue of how to now discuss the issue of cost of governance. So it has now become a recurrent decimal that this administration too is faced with another huge crisis of determining what actually does it mean to have to talk about cost of governance. Are we going to relate it to budget? Is there any implementation rules that guide budget implementation? How did you even come about the rule of budget itself and budgeting? So these are issues that has now gotten to the height of promoting corruption, because people no longer take to abide by.
All right. We obviously have been cut off from that conversation there with Are Oladoto Hassan. We're taking a quick break on the program now. When we return, we'll continue with our conversation here. Do stay with us, everyone. All right, we were just starting a conversation there with Ààrẹ Ọládìtún Hassan, the global president of Yoruba Council worldwide. Incidentally, we couldn't move on with that discussion. Well, all thanks to the glitches we had with the audio there. But then it is what it is now, because the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission has said it is going ahead with the 100% upward review of the remuneration of public office holders, something that Nigerians over time have kicked against, because in a country where one of the challenges is how to cut down the cost of governance, one would have thought we're paying attention to much more pressing issues, far more, well, immediate problems that we have as a country. But then it will appear that the priorities are tilted in favor of certain other matters at this point in time. But how do you really have the argument when the commission itself says that this particular action, this move, it has already started making towards, well, scaling up the salaries and the allowances of public office holders is an integral part of its overall mandate. That again is where the conversation around whether we should go back to look at the fundamentals in terms of what do we pay more attention to, where should the bulk of our resources go to. Look at Nigeria today. Look at the HDI, I mean the Human Development Index. Look at life expectancy. We're still doing about 54 years in the case of Nigeria. All right. Look at access to potable water. If you live in Abuja, for the most part, even though it's not in every part of the Federal Capital Territory, you may be able to boast of pipe-borne water. But can you say same of every other city across this country? Well, your answer is as good as mine. And then you go to another very crucial sector, which is health. How much of access do Nigerians generally have to health care? And what is the quality of the service? Given that in the same country, we have seen cases time and again where every time the National Association of Resident Doctors, NARD, goes on strike, it becomes chaotic. Every time some professionals in the health space go on strike, I mean, the impact is something you rather want to imagine than experience. You hear that people on life support, people who are on critical care are dying, their families and loved ones are having to pull them away to maybe private facilities where they'll have to pay through their nostrils and all of that. That is for health. And then you go to education, for example. How much resources beyond lip service do we make in education? There are those who argue that the UNESCO recommended 26% budget allocation for education is not realistic because Nigeria is not a UNESCO annex. Nigeria can determine how it funds education. But the question is, even if you say you do not believe in UNESCO recommendation, by conscience, are we investing anything close to enough in education? We're saying all of this in terms of cutting costs of governance. I don't know if Ramsey is as bothered as some other people in this country about how that we have the bulk of Nigeria's wealth going to fund public offices. That's the worry of many Nigerians right now.
Yeah, I think it is still the misplaced priority that people are talking about. I think it's still the same thing that a lot of Nigerians will think right now, because I don't know of what benefit that will be to Nigerians. I don't know if public office holders are the ones that need the money more than the average Nigerians. I don't know if somebody's health is more superior to that of the other person. I don't know if life is supposed to be judged based on office holding, positions you hold in the society. I don't know. So many questions while we were speaking. So I was asking myself so many questions because as it is right now, I'm tired of asking questions and who to ask. Because now is, if you ask me, now who I go ask. Because if you look at the education sector, okay, just till today, lecturers are still talking about strike action. What are they asking for? nurses were just begged back from a strike action. Pensioners, I think some of them are still on the street because their pensions were not paid. The police officers, recently they marched to, is it the National Assembly or so? What for? Because of wages to whom, which is even due them. And now we're talking about public office holders, remuneration, and sometimes you just sit down and think, how do these things come up? You begin to ask questions. How do these things come up? Who proposed them? Who is looking at the health sector, the education sector? Who, see, all these things boils down to the fact that our future in Nigeria, don't we see, very soon, people will abandon other things to concentrate on public offices, because Nigerians look at juicy places. They call it greener pasture. You know, everyone would want to be a public office holder because of some of these things that happens. But then, why is the priority on people that are already doing well to an extent? What about Nigerians? Someone on my program said, well, on the desk, one of my guests, a development expert, said, when Okonjo-Iweala came to Nigeria, the statement she made to the president, her assessment of the economy wasn't a bad one, but she made a statement, and that statement is centered on the Nigerian populace. More alleviation projects, more developmental projects need to be put in place. But now, instead of us thinking of the future, we're thinking about now. There have been promises of how there's going to be light at the end of the tunnel. The economy is not stable. But people are, the little that we are supposed to invest for the future so that at least Nigerians can be hopeful, we still want to add it to public office holders. I want to know, is it the public office holders that are complaining, or there is a protest that they need increment? In the first place, who even sit down to make these decisions? The same people still sit down to make this decision, to take these decisions in their own favor. What about the people? You talked about our health sector. In the papers this morning, the president was saying, well, Nigerians in diaspora should come back home.
Right.
That has been one of the things he has been advocating for since he came into office. Come back, let's put Nigeria in place, the Japa syndrome, so many efforts to reduce it. But then, with the things happening, see, we are in a digital age. Whatever you say here now will go viral in a minute. Everything that is being said in this country, these proposals, everything is on the floor. Everybody is seeing it. And there are some things people will see on the pages of papers concerning a country, concerning a situation, and they make their own assessment of what the whole scenario is all about from a distance, and they take their decisions. So all of these things put together, I think we need to start prioritizing things in their order of importance. Okay, in economics they call it is it opportunity cost, also scale of preference. We need to start drawing our scale of preference as a nation. All right, we shouldn't just be concerned about I need more, but somebody have not had any at all. And even people that really need more are not having it. If not until we begin to think of how we can make this public. People are even saying public offices should be made less attractive. Less attractive.
That's right.
So that this fight This antagonism will reduce to an extent. Majority of the things that happen in this country, in one way or the other, if you ask the average Nigerians, they will link it to politics. Okay, look at the insecurity we'll have in the nation. You are talking about it. The number of persons that were arrested in connection with sponsor of terrorist activities. How many of them have been named and shamed? I don't know. I think Nigeria still have an integrity to protect, and if we sometimes you do the right thing at the wrong time. We're not saying public office holders don't deserve to be compensated. That's not what we're saying. But there are some other gray areas that we need to bring up to match up with the standard of even the public office holders before, when everybody is at par and everybody is saying, okay, now we need to lift that of the public office holders for certain reasons. I don't think Nigerians have even been told the reason why it's necessary for these people's compensation to be up, to be increased or something. So I think more attention should be given to our developmental projects, our hospitals, our schools. You know, very important. You need to live, first of all. You need to be alive before, because they say you need to be healthy before you even talk about wealth, because health is wealth. So we need to do all of these things before we even, if we say, okay, like the minimum wage, it will amaze you that minimum wage has not been implemented in some quarters till now as we speak.
But there are states who are not even discussing the issue.
They are not even discussing the issue. You understand? But how many people are talking about it? How many people are worried about it?
So there are states apparently where it is still normal to receive or to earn 33,000 as it has always been
in this economy. You know, and we all go to the same market.
Right.
So I think something needs to be done about this situation so that at least the government will know what to do.
Of course, there's no better way to put it. You see, fact of the matter is there's so much we can talk about all of these issues, because when it's all said and done, like Ramsey just mentioned a while ago, we all go to the same markets. We are all in the same economy. While a good number of Nigerians may not understand all the economic dynamics, whether macro or micro elements, the fact of the matter remains that what touches one touches all. And again, you just mentioned the issue of making public office less attractive and all of that. So one time I listened to a former local government chairman who had also tried his hands on the set one time, say on television, that look, we probably should be having a system by now where a senator overall doesn't earn more than 200,000 naira per month. Maybe that will make people see public office more as an opportunity for service than an avenue to milk and exploit and plunder and what have you. But this system, many people have argued, is not sustainable because of the burden that it brings with it. All right, look at, for example, in this country, we've seen governors engage, or if you want to use the word, hire 1,000 aides, 2,000 aides, especially as it gets closer to electioneering. All right, we've seen that happen in this country. I mean, how can a sound thinking governor explain having 1,000 SSAs and then tell the people of that state how it serves their interests? Ultimately, in one case, we had even heard about 2,000 SSAs. Now, these are supposed to be senior special assistants to the governor. What kind of assistance are they giving to the governor beyond political interest that only serves the good of the governor? Who is thinking about the good of the people of that state in that situation, under that circumstance? These are the concerns that most Nigerians have. We're also seeing legislators, particularly the House of Representatives, just a few years ago, say that, look, For the next 6 months, we're giving out our salaries or half of our salaries just to cut down, just to contribute to the effort to cut down the cost of governance. That sounded noble, quite frankly. But Nigerians who know enough say that, look, what is actually the salary of a member of the House of Representatives compared to the other perks, including constituency votes, allowances of all kinds that he gets? You see, this conversation in itself is as complicated as the system of governance in Nigeria. Let's take a quick break, everyone. When we'll return from this break, we'll talk about issues around cutting cost of governance still. Please do stay with us. Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
A new Imo is on the rise. In the beating heart of Owerri, business never sleeps. From sunrise to sundown, the wheels keep turning. And behind the scenes, vision meets action. Governor Hope Uzodinma's leadership has left the pages of manifestos to become real actions and achievements. Transformations that piece by piece feels like a miracle. But progress needs peace to thrive. And in Imo, we are not leaving it to chance. From land to sky to river deep, guardians are always watching, protecting dreams and opportunities. If you go to the quiet shore of Orashi Power, you will see the awakening of a hydropower roaring to electrify and energize a blossoming economy. The change is visible. The heartland of the East is under construction as new roads are threading together once forgotten places. Industry is humming again and communities are alive. At the center of it all, a digital revolution is rising. A new ministry with a new mission. Not just cables and codes, but capacity. 500,000 young minds trained each year to build a digital future. And as Orashi Power goes up, so does Imo, lifting with it the hopes of a hard-working people. A new Imo is on the rise.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
What is your problem? We're on the road to protest.
And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
A new Imo is on the rise. In the beating heart of Owerri, business never sleeps. From sunrise to sundown, the wheels keep turning. And behind the scenes, vision meets action. Governor Hope Uzodinma's leadership has left the pages of manifestos to become real actions and achievements. Transformations that piece by piece feels like a miracle. But progress needs peace to thrive, and in
At a public ceremony in Abuja, the ELGAF Africa Legislative Governance and Policy Innovation Hub, in partnership with civil society groups, launched the Deliberative Barometer and Policy Focus Productive Report. According to the findings by the President, ELGAF Africa Legislative Governance and Policy Innovation Hub, Chibuzo Okereke, the House of Representatives recorded over 4,200 legislative actions, while the Senate logged more than 2,200. Security, economy, and education emerged as top focus areas. However, the report also revealed that 4% of senators and 12% of representatives recorded zero legislative actions during the period. Meanwhile, top performers included Senate Leader Opeyemi Bamidele and Deputy Speaker Benjamin Kalu, led in the House with more than 100.
Within the data framework we have built, you can know that this member, since he came in the first session, all he has done is to second motion only, or to, or he also shows you the legislators who have not said a word throughout the first session of the National Assembly, which we classify as lawmakers with zero legislative actions within that period, and those who are top performing legislators.
The Speaker of the House of Representatives, ably represented by Cyril Hart, says the barometer is a mirror for lawmakers as it challenges members to raise the standard of representation, lawmaking, and oversight.
This platform tracks the productivity of lawmakers and evaluates policy, and it is a tool that can advance democratic growth in measurable ways. This compels us to constantly raise the standard of representation, lawmaking, and oversight by spotlighting legislative outputs.
This report gives Nigerians a scorecard to evaluate their lawmakers and ensure that Parliament works for the people. For ELGAF Africa, its partners, the tool is a step towards strengthening Nigerians' democracy. Anieti, Patrick, reporting for Global TV.
Wow, that's quite revolutionary. Taking a look at what impact legislators have made across board, House of Representatives and the Senate. You know, somebody once said to me, Ramsey, that no matter what you do, good or bad, right or wrong, there's somebody somewhere who is watching. All right, this is not just only detailed, it is brilliant, it is colorful, and it highlights where there have been failings, and it also doesn't fail to look at successes that have been recorded. And as well, I was looking at this just a while ago this morning, top performing senators based on General Productivity Index. That's, of course, cuts across substantive and procedural legislative actions. The best four there are all women, all right? You have the senator representing Lagos West. You have that of FCT, of course, that's Ireti Kingebe. All right, you have Rivers West and then Kogi Central again, talking about Natasha Akpoti Uduaga now and all of that. So it just goes to show that impact isn't about gender, all right? It's about what you can do. It's about what your agenda is and how much of energy you're going to put into driving all of that. And the convener a while ago in that news report we just saw, Ramsey, was talking about how that for some of the legislators, the best they ever bring in terms of value to debate and legislative impact is to just second motions. But again, that goes to speak to what was the motivation of going to the legislature in the first instance.
This is not far from what we were talking about before this report actually came up.
Right.
We're talking about the fact that some people go into these offices because they feel it's lucrative. You know, some people look at politics as a career, you know, and some persons have already settled for that in my life, what I want to do is politics.
So they end up to be career politicians.
And you go to schools today, ask the younger ones what they would love to become in the future. They will tell you they want to become politicians. Now, this is somebody that moved from one location to the other, campaigning, I'll do this for you, I'll do this for you. Constituency projects will be carried out and all of that. But by the time they get to this place, their people don't even see their relevance. Like that report just said, you know, some persons are sitting there. If you ask them until their tenure is over, the only thing they've done in that chamber is aye, nay. That is the only thing they've ever said as representatives of
again, that essentially comes down to seconding motions.
Seconding motions. That's the only thing they do. They only wait for when there will be something on the table to share, as the case may be.
Right.
So what are we talking about? See, there are detailed areas that we need to look at. A majority of the problem that we have is from the head. Well, see, no matter what you do, okay, no matter what you do, if you're not sound, if there is problem with the head, take for instance, the sense organs. If any of the sense organs is faulty, there is trouble for the body. I don't know if you're picturing what I'm saying. These people are, the way we look at them, originally the way it's supposed to be, they are called lawmakers.
Right.
You know what a law, the function of a law. The law governs the people. Do the right thing, put things in perspective. This is what you're supposed to do. These are the things you're not supposed to do. This is what you are supposed to do to somebody in my constituency. All right, now let's come to the highest performing officers in the house. Women, the top 4. We have women there. But if you want to talk about politics in Nigeria, where is the place of the women? Who considers the women? Look at, I don't know, I don't want to say victimization, but a lot of these women don't even have voices in their house. But they try, since it is their constitutional duty, responsibility, they beat boundaries. They go as far as doing, okay, look at Natasha, look at what she's facing. We're not trying to shift blame to say she is right or any other person is wrong. That's not what we're saying. But the distraction is what we are talking about. And not even about Natasha, not about the Senate president, but the people at the grassroots there. The people who she's representing.
I think I would second this motion that you have raised.
You're one of those in the house that second motions.
All right, but what can we say? We may be laughing now. Apparently, it's not a laughing matter because these are issues of national interest. We're taking a quick break now. This conversation is ongoing and it will continue for the next couple of days, all else equal. After this break, I will put another conversation on the road for you. Do stay with us.
Is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
What is your problem? What's your problem? We're on the road to protest.
And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
A new Imo is on the rise. In the beating heart of Owerri, business never sleeps. From sunrise to sundown, the wheels keep turning. And behind the scenes, vision meets action. Governor Hope Uzodinma's leadership has left the pages of manifestos to become real actions and achievements. Transformations that piece by piece feels like a miracle. But progress needs peace to thrive. And in Imo, we are not leaving it to chance. From land to sky to river deep, guardians are always watching, protecting dreams and opportunities. If you go to the quiet shore of Orashi Power, you will see the awakening of a hydropower roaring to electrify and energize a blossoming economy. The change is visible. The heartland of the East is under construction as new roads are threading together once forgotten places. Industry is humming again and communities are alive. At the center of it all, a digital revolution is rising. A new ministry with a new mission. Not just cables and codes, but capacity. 500,000 young minds trained each year to build a digital future. And as Orashi Power goes up, so does Imo, lifting with it the hopes of a hard-working people. A new Imo is on the rise.
just about the platforms themselves.
To the preservation of the national unity and democratic stability.
Water is life, water is an essential service, and then water serves to carry out the residents.
Local communities are not only vital to the growth of society, but they also form the bedrock of humanitarian development.
Well, you can't finish talking about the things happening in Nigeria here. And of course, there is no way anything happens without law and order. Wherever you go, whatever you hear people say, well, make sure you maintain law and order. But then, when you talk about law, when you talk about legislating, when you talk about governance, when you talk about politics, the law always takes its course in everything. And more so that recently we've seen how some elections have been concluded in the court of law. That's to say, the judiciary, all right, the lawmakers, the people who interpret the law, also have some parts, some roles to play as far as governance is concerned. In this conversation today, we will look at some very vital issues. And of course, we're looking at something very, very unique today, good governance. That's what Nigerians have forever and will forever advocate for. And we are going to be at least looking at the legislator in democracy, the role. What role do you think the legislators should play or are playing in our democracy, looking at where we are today? We have a legal practitioner and a public affairs analyst joining us on the conversation this morning in the person of Barrister Monday Eje. It's good to have you join us on the program this morning.
I'm glad to be here once again. Good morning, Nigerians.
Thanks for coming. Now, let's look at legislating as a matter of fact. Just recently, before you joined us, we're looking at an assessment, a report that came about the performance of the House of Representatives and, of course, that of the National Assembly, the senators. Now, there is a major role that legislatures play in democracy. Now, let's do an assessment. What do you think? Can democracy exist, or you feel the role of legislators are important in democracy, so that we can begin to look at these roles?
Yes, definitely. Every arm of government, every organ of government, because they're actually two different things, and every strata in the society is instrumental to good governance and advancement of democracy. Even the electorates, the citizens, we are instrumental. The media houses are instrumental. And if any of these strata or any of these arm or organs, however, amongst this structure, however you want to put it, is lacking in its major responsibilities, then definitely the system will not be in proper shape. So talking about the basic ones, we see that we ordinary people take as government and governance, which is the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary. If you look at these three organs, you will see that, yes, society evolved to such a point that they said, okay, you make laws for us, you implement the laws for us, and you interpret the laws and adjudicate for us. So the judicial arm will interpret and adjudicate. That's after the legislature has made those laws, and the executive arm will implement the laws. What both organs, both arms, I mean to say, the legislature and the judiciary bring out by way of decisions and resolutions and enactments and all of that is what the executive arm usually will implement. And though they are supposed to be separate and independent, but that separation and independence is not absolute. Now, pinning down on the National Assembly, I'm aware, if you follow them through and through, I'm aware that there are persons there that will never cough other than their normal yes or no, yea or nay talk. Some won't even participate in that. Some, the best form of participation you see them give or have is just to collect allowances and collect salaries and bear the name that they are either senators or House of Reps members or whatsoever. I won't want to, there are certain things I won't want to say that might be impediments to some of those who actually want to give representations, who want to introduce bills, promote bills, and so on and so forth. There are a lot of other things that happen there. I'm aware that it will take you so much lobbying, and that lobbying involves also huge financial commitments to even be able to speak sometimes. If you are not part of the caucus, they have caucuses, they have those sitting in choice areas, they have those, who even want to talk, and then you discover that you will never be able to talk. And so a lot of politicking goes on there. So while that report is I've not seen the report, but I know that there is no way that a report will come that it will not mention some of the things that I've mentioned. Because at the end of the day, it's easy to see, even if it is 10% attention you give to what is happening at the level of the National Assembly, it's easy to see or know that, yes, it's just a few persons handling affairs, just a few bills, being or haven't been properly made into law. Because, there's the improper procedure, there's the proper procedure. The improper one, they just rush over it. You don't have a choice. Whether you like it or not, that bill must pass, especially the one that is coming from the executive arm of government and the one that the presidency is particularly interested in. We can go on and on and on and on and on. But generally, I cannot say they have put in the best performance that Nigerians expect. In quotes. So whatever you do in politics, in governance, that does not translate into the manifest promotion of the welfare of your citizens, it's just grammar, it's theoretical. You churn out these laws and they are not being properly implemented, and nothing happens when they are not properly implemented, so it's just there, or they are not properly interpreted or adjudicated upon. It still doesn't make so much sense to the ordinary man. So I will say, speaking for those of us that are the masses, the ordinary citizens, I would say, well, whatever it is they have done have not directly impacted me. And I know many people will say, oh, it has not directly impacted them positively. But that is not to say, they've not done a lot. The PIA Act, that has been passed in fragments all along. The bulk of it was passed with this assembly. The Cyber Crimes Act was amended sometime, I think, last year. We have the National Electricity Regulatory, we have the Power Sector Act also that has been amended, further deregulating the activities of NEC, allowing states to have more participation with respect to the electricity sector. We can, go on and on with respect to some of these things that I've done, that if the executive arm and every other stakeholder in that sector operate and work with what they've done, definitely there will be some level of impact. So it's not a zero for me. It's just that when you put them on the scales and balance them things up, you will see that yes, there's room for them to do more.
All right. Doing an assessment
okay, of the legislature as it has to do with their role in governance. Now, let's, like you said, based on assessment, what do you think, okay, of performance, their activities? What is the correlation between their activities in the House and level of performance? Can we say, okay, this person is performing? We're not seeing more of the person putting up actions in the House, but the person is performing at their various constituency or in their various zones or something. So how can we balance activeness in the House and performance back there?
You know, the predicament of the legislature is that its primary responsibility has to do with lawmaking. That's its primary responsibility. It's lawmaking. And is basically there to ensure that when these laws are being made, the interest of his constituency is also captured while making efforts to ensure that national interest is taken care of. So I will just right away say that it's kind of unfair to them to expect that they go back to their constituency to carry out certain things that the executive alone ought to carry out. What comes to mind immediately, if we even want to talk about the legislature and making impact with respect to performance directly affecting the lives of their constituency members, are the constituency projects. Now, even at that, if you talk about this constituency project, what the legislature can do is to want to push. For example, if in his area they are having maybe so many flood-related issues and so on and so forth, and they need to get drainages done and all of that, and the what do you call it? It's basically beyond the powers of the state government to absolutely do that without, you know, suffering, having challenges with payment of salaries. Maybe there are such challenges, and their representative in the National Assembly want to do something about it. The best they can do is to push in a project like that, maybe through the Ministry of Environment or through the ecological, those that are in charge of the ecological funds and so on and so forth, to get them to go there to do it. Now, once that is done and it is captured in the budget, the next thing he can do is to probably lobby them to see that that project monies are released for it and they are done. That is the ideal scenario. Now, the next question is, this ideal scenario we just talked about, is it the practical scenario? Is that what is obtainable? Is that what we see? Now, yes, granted, some of them actually see that this project sailed through. But there are so many of them that it has been alleged that many members of the National Assembly will push in these projects, get their cronies to be awarded the contracts, and sometimes maybe they never get to do them. And then maybe sometimes they do them and the jobs are badly done. But we have wonderful people in the National Assembly as well, who even go to their constituencies and out of their pockets, out of their allowances and salaries, get to do some very good empowerment. You know, make buses available for those who want to become drivers, grinding machines, motorcycles, tricycles, sewing machines, and all of that. I think even some of them even do street lights, you know, mount solar panels, some get transformers for their people. Some of these things, a lot of them do them. Nobody gets to hear about these stuff except those that are in their constituency and those that are, you know, the beneficiaries of such things. So there is nothing actually that is absolutely bad, and you know, there's nothing that can be absolutely good. There are always the bad sides and there are always the good sides. But I think what we experience here with respect to governance and representatives and so on and so forth is you have much more of the bad and negative than the good and positive.
All right. Let's get back. I'm still coming back to that report because in that report we had a high rating for the women in the house.
Oh, beautiful.
A high rating. And while I was discussing with my colleague, we're like, oh, wow, what does this mean? What message does this pass across? Does it mean Nigerians, okay, at the National Assembly, we should have, especially at the National Assembly, should we have more women than men? Because if you look at the ratio, the percentage, it's favoring the men more, like 90 or 80%. Now,
men or the women?
The women.
Okay.
The women. Okay, the women are few, the men are more. But for the rating, the women are performing higher than most of the men, majority of the men. So what message does that speak to the public, looking at 2027 in perspective?
You see, like we did the analysis with respect to the functions of the responsibilities of the National Assembly members. And then, like we talked about the fact that there's always an ideal scenario for everything. And there's a practical scenario that you have. So it is with this, with respect to this question that you just posed. Now, you see, I'm aware that Senator Natasha, for example, did a lot of things within her constituency. And that earned her so much popularity with her people. So if she is one of the, if you place the women, if other National Assembly, female National Assembly members, and of course in that assembly, in the National Assembly, there is no male, no female, just like we have in law. But for the purpose of analysis, the NAS members of the female stock, if they are few, definitely their rate of performance, if put on a percentage level, will definitely be high. It will go high. I've not heard so much about the others, maybe because they don't do too much they are not too much of the social media people. But I know that if you pick at random and you pick Senator Natasha, for example, to represent that class, you will agree with me that yes, they are doing well. They've done wonderfully well. So what does this say to us? You see, the ideal thing is for you to say, okay, the logical thing is to say, oh, if women perform more, if this reporter said that the women have done better in percentage-wise than the men or the male, maybe we should vote for more women. That will ordinarily be the ideal scenario, normal, rational thinking. But in this country, nothing is normal. Nothing is rational. And in fact, principles that have been shown, economic principles, socio-economic and political principles that have been shown to be working wonderfully well in other climes, bring them here. They are messed up. Bring the best laws, put them out there. They are messed up. The public servants will mess them up. Civil servants will mess them up. Talking about elections, the electorate will, we are talking for ourselves now, pitching, ourselves as the ordinary masses against those we have perceived as our political leaders. But matter of factly, these political leaders don't get to even do anything themselves. Whatever destruction they do, whatever construction they do through people. The rigging is being done through the citizens. This ballot snatching, the election results, and every other thing that you think that they do, they are being done through the people. So at the end of the day, those logical scenarios, that steps that we need to take based on statistics or an analysis from what we get from people who carry out researches like this and bring out reports like we are discussing, you will realize that when the reports come, people just read them, we analyze them, some take their time to listen, and then they just walk away. Statistics don't, in fact, if other people pick that statistics, at that report, and they begin to look at so many other angles to it, you will see them, they will come and sit down here and impugn it and castigate it and say all manner of things against it. Because at the end of the day, the society does not operate like a normal society, and it's unfortunate. So, will the women, even if they want to come out and to run these elections and be there to represent and participate more in governance, how possible will it be for them? Do they have the financial muscles? Do they have the financial power? Do they have the necessary contacts, to do the other post-election activities that needs to be done? How easy is it for them? So, and I know that except you deliberately say that this percentage of office or representation be given to women deliberately, that men shouldn't contest a particular position or positions, it will be difficult for the women to assume political leadership and offices. Extremely difficult, based on the kind of politics we run.
All right, our time is up. I would have loved us to talk more about this because 2027 is in perspective. You can see the drama from the People's Democratic Party.
Very interesting.
Well, we thought the fight is over, the faction is over, but then we are seeing so many things unveiling, and all is in the bid for 2027. And some people from there will still emerge as legislators and all of that.
I was here, I think the first time I was here, we touched on this issue. Yeah. I told you that based on what we had on ground at that time, which is even becoming worse now, there is no way that 2027 will not go to the president.
In fact, you've heard it. I said it. Time is not on our side. I wish we could talk about this. But then, as it is, we are seeing fight from here, left, right, front, back, and center. All towards 2027, the PDP fight still continues. Let's see what will happen. We know that some persons will still emerge from there as lawmakers. So, all of this put together, we want to say good governance is the most, in fact, it should be the priority, all right? The most important thing, as it were. All right, thank you very much for joining us on the conversation today.
Thank you for having me.
This is going to be the size of Global Morning for today. As a matter of fact, time would not allow us to talk more. But then, just keep watching Global Television. Every view of our guest and that of the newspaper is their own and not that of Global Television, as a matter of fact. But then, you should also know that everyone is entitled to their opinion and perspective to everything happening in the society. Have a beautiful day ahead of you, and of course keep watching Global Television on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. My name is Ramsey Enoch Agbo, and of course from Uyi Agbomofuegbe and myself want to say thank you for joining us and have a beautiful day. Bye-bye for now.